We're speaking with Phil Costner, chef, operations leader, and highly respected industry veteran who has now set his sights on La Madeleine. Stay tuned for the next in our series of Leaders with Guts. Phil, the former senior vice president of Universal Hollywood Studios once said of you, "There's nothing that Phil can't do." How true is that statement?
That's a pretty lofty statement. Very nice thing for him to say. I think though that what he was referring to is that I was able to find a way to get things done. So I think it's less about me accomplishing things by myself, and it's really more about driving a team to results that people thought we probably couldn't get to, or maybe even the team didn't think they could get to. And so, I think that's really more of a comment about a personal philosophy I have, which is I surround myself with brilliance. And if I can't find brilliance, I'll help create brilliance in people. But it's, at the end of the day, it's surrounding yourself with great people, with great minds, and then giving them the freedom to move, and give them the freedom to do what they do best. I'd much rather have my hands on the reins. I'd rather pull someone back than to be constantly pushing them out of the stable. Come on, let's go. I think that's what he was referring to. We accomplished some pretty neat things while we were at Universal, and very, very few of them were done by one person.
And to that end, what has been the proudest moment of your career?
Wow. There's been, I've been really lucky. I've had some great breaks along the way, and I've got to work for some great people and great organizations, and I've been bestowed some pretty neat honors along the way. But if I had to choose one, I'll say there's two. One was at the ripe old age of 23 years old when we slung the doors of the Alexis Hotel in Portland, Oregon opened. And when those open up, and you draw that first breath, and you go, "Ooh, wow! I have to be a chef now." That was a pretty proud moment. I used to keep a journal in the kitchen with all the specials, and I wrote a couple pages in that journal, and I talked about all those years ago what it felt like to get this break and to be a chef. I was really a chef, not a sous chef and not a chef de partie, but right there in royal blue it said Phil Costner, executive chef, and that was it. And there was 28 guys in the kitchen looking at me saying, "Okay, tell us what you want me to do." And most of them were a lot older than me, and so that was a really neat time. And the other time I think that I was really really proud. Again, a very similar time was when Universal Studios Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida opened up. I was one of the lucky people who were one of the directors who were on the team that opened that up. And we'll all remember where we were the day we were walking through that park one morning, and over the walkie-talkie came that first official message that Universal Studios Islands of Adventure is open. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And what makes you happiest in the role you have now?
Oh, by far, the happiest part of my job, the best part of my job, is getting positive guest comments about our associates. And we get, our guest base are so vocal, and they're almost like owners. It's almost like a country club. They all feel they own a piece of the business. And so they tell us when something's good and when something's not so good. And I get about 20 consumer letters a day through different channels over the internet. And a fair portion of those, well over half of those, are about great things that our associates have done, or the appreciation that our guests, that our Amandas are they just want somebody to know that Billy or Joey or Susie or Betty they're just nice. They're just nice people, or they went out of their way to help me, or I love seeing them every day. By far, that's the best part of my job, because it's working. That's that cultural aspect I'm talking about, is when you can get your guest talking about your people as well as your food, you've won.
Since you graduated from the CIA, has your career taken on the path that you thought it would in any way, or has it really surpassed your expectations?
It has not taken the path that I anticipated. When I left the CIA, I was I was headed to go work at the Four Seasons Hotel in Seattle, Washington, the Four Seasons Olympic. And I was going to go live out my dream of my goal of being, I want to go be a chef, and I want to be a good one, and I want to be embedded in that city. And I had no idea that my career would lead me to where it is today.
And I know that you enjoy thoroughbred racing. What other activities do you enjoy in your off time?
Those who know me, they know I have an addiction to golf. I love the game of golf. I love all facets of it and all the characteristics. But I love to travel. I like to go see different places. I love places like Montreal. I love New York. I love Chicago, and it's just kind of fun to now having the experience that I have in the restaurant industry, going to these places and really kind of exploring more than shopping.
And when you go to New York, what restaurant do you like to go to there?
Boy, that's a mecca of great restaurants. Gramercy Tavern. Mm-hmm. Is it Gramercy Tavern or Gramercy Square? Did I get
Gramercy
that right?
Tavern.
There you go.
Do you cook at home? And if so, what kinds of things do you make?
I do. I love to cook. And when I cook, there's really two things that I like to do at home. The first one, I love the thrill of the grill. I have an outdoor kitchen out by the pool, and I take great solace, and it's so calming for me to just grill everything, figure out how to grill it, how to grill roast it, how to grill smoke it. I like to have some ice cold beverages nearby. I like to have a bunch of people in the backyard and be challenged with how much production can I get out of my grill, and how can I time this in such a way that everything comes up at the same time the way it should. I love doing that. And then the flip side of that is I love the grand meal. I love entertaining. I like the traditional holiday meals. I like having 8 or 9 or 10 people over for dinner and doing something really, really special.
And you grew up in the Seattle area, and now you live in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll ever want to go back to Seattle?
Possibly. Seattle was a great place to grow up. When you grow up there, you don't realize how great the seafood is in Seattle until you move away. And when you go back to Seattle and you have a simply grilled piece of salmon, that first bite tells you, wow, this is incredible. But I love living in Dallas too. My daughter and I love horses and cattle and ranches and hay and dogs, and that's a kind of a far cry from Seattle.
Do you think it's possible to be a busy restaurant executive and still maintain a balanced life?
I do, but in saying that, it's not easy. You really have to concentrate on that whole balanced lifestyle, because it's so easy. It's so easy to get caught up in what you're doing. It sounds so cliche to say if you're passionate about it, it's hard to let go. But that's the simple fact. That's the truth of the matter, is that there is a group of us who are extremely passionate about what we do, and I'm one of those. And we're lucky. We don't go to work every day. We go to our place every day. We do our thing every day, and it makes it fun. And you have to work at being able to turn that switch off and to say, okay, it's time to go be a dad. Mm-hmm. Or it's time to go be a friend, or it's time to go be someone special and do something besides work, and talk about something besides work, and think about something besides work. So yes, it can, number one. Number two, it's an imperative if you're going to survive this industry, and you're going to survive it with your family and those that you love. You have to get there. It's an imperative. And number three, you have to work at it, and you need a little help along the way to get there.
You said you really enjoy living in Dallas. What do you think about Texas as a whole? I mean, oftentimes, some people in Texas, they even talked about seceding from the Union because they have such pro-Texas feelings. How does that grab you when you move to Texas?
Yeah, I love Texas. I mean, this whole secession from the Union thing, not so much for me. I kind of like being part of the United States, so I think I'm going to hang in there. But I love the identity of Texas. There's a lot of pride in Texas, and it's fun. It's fun to be a part of that. We have Southern hospitality, which I think is it's a great place to bring up a child. They learn manners, and as part of the culture down here. It's a great state for restaurants. I mean, it's fabulous. The variety of food here is incredible. We've got some of the best chefs in the nation living and working in Dallas and throughout Texas. You know, Austin's an incredible food town as well, as is Houston. You know, I love it. I think it's a great place to live.
We've been talking with Phil Costner, COO of La Madeleine. Check out the next part of this series as we explore what it takes to be a leader with guts. For Food Channel Pro, I'm Ellen Codiff.